Today's topic of discussion: you deserve more. Listen to me when you know you deserve more, but you keep living as if you don't. You've said it to yourself, maybe not out loud, but the thought is there. This isn't enough. I'm capable of more than this. That I deserve more than this situation or this relationship and this version of my life. And you're right, you do. But here's the question that nobody asks after that thought. If you deserve more, then why do you keep accepting less? Not as an accusation, but as a genuine question. Because the answer to that question, it is the most important thing. And I'm going to cover it in this entire series. And it starts by understanding what most people have got completely wrong, and that is understanding what a standard actually is. Most people, they think a standard is something that you set, a decision you've made, or a line that you draw. You'll say, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard, or that I'm setting a new standard for my life. And then nothing changes, because that is not what standards are. A standard isn't what you decide. A standard is what you demonstrate day after day, in those decisions that nobody sees, and what you accept from yourself when you're tired, overwhelmed, or when no one's watching. Your real standards, they're not the ones that you talk about. It's the one that your behaviour proves. And most people's real standard, the demonstrated one, not the declared one, is significantly lower than they think. Not because they're lazy and not because they don't care. Your standard is not what you say that you hold. It's what you actually hold. And right now, your life is the proof. And here is what makes it so difficult to see. Your declared standard and your demonstrated standard can look almost identical from the inside. And you'll tell yourself that you have high standards, and you'll genuinely believe it, because in your head, the bar's high. You can picture exactly what you want, exactly the level that you want to operate at, and exactly the version of your life that you know you're capable of. The picture, it is of a high standard. But the daily behaviour, those small automatic decisions, the things that you keep accepting without question, and those moments where you're negotiating with yourself, those are telling a different story. And the gap between the picture in your head and the behaviour in your day is exactly what this series is about. Because most people are living in that gap without realising it. They have high standard thinking, but low standard behaviour. And then they wonder why the life they're living doesn't match the one that they can picture. It's not having a gap in your vision, it's a gap in your standards. The standard that you picture and the standard that you live are two totally different things. And until they become the same thing, the life that you picture will continue to stay out of reach. But here's the part that changes everything. If a standard is only demonstrated and it's not declared, and if it's proven by behaviour and not intention, then it can be raised. Not by deciding to be better, and not by writing a list of what you want, but by changing what you accept from yourself consistently, in those small moments that feel far too insignificant to even count. Every time you do the thing that you said you was going to do, when you don't feel like it, when no one's watching, when there's no immediate reward, you raise that demonstrated standard by 1 degree. Every time you let that slide. Oh, just this once, just today, as if it doesn't even matter. You lower it by 1 degree. And those degrees, they compound. Not dramatically, but in a way you would notice on an individual day. But over weeks, months, and years, those accumulated degrees become the life that you are living. The people that are operating at the level that you want to reach aren't there just because they decided to have higher standards. They're there because they've been demonstrating higher standards in those small, unglamorous moments for long enough that the compounding has shown up in their life. And that is the whole mechanism. And it starts not with just a grand declaration, but it starts with the next small thing that you said you would do. You raise a standard the same way that you build an identity. One piece of evidence at a time. And a time for me in my personal experience when I noticed that there was a gap between my declared standards and my demonstrated standards was in business and relationships. When I would say to work with me, they had to be a high-performing individual, someone that wanted more, someone that wanted change, and I only wanted to work with the best because that's how I carry myself, but I kept saying yes to people that didn't match the criteria that I was claiming I wanted to work with. I would give everybody my time, I would give everybody value, I would give everybody my energy Although I would claim that I only want to work with those that really want the change. I would only work with those that really wanted to grow. And as time was going on, my standards that I was displaying was not in correlation with the standards I was saying that I had. I was claiming I'm a high standard person. There's a high bar that I'm aiming to hit, yet I kept doing low standard activities by constantly being a yes man, by constantly saying yes to things that deep down conflicted with my own beliefs when I would want to say no. And I'd be frustrated at myself for saying yes, but I felt obliged to help everybody and I felt obliged to give my time and energy to anybody that asked for it. But internally, I'd be frustrated at myself for constantly contradicting what it is I said I wanted to do versus the actions I was actually taking and showing and displaying in my life. So here's 3 things to take from this video. 1, audit the gap, and not your intentions, but your actual demonstrated standards right now. Look at what you are accepting from yourself daily in your habits, your decisions, your reactions, and what you let slide. That is your current standard, not what you want it to be, but what the evidence says it is. Number 2, pick one area. Don't try and raise your standards everywhere at once. Pick one area where the gap between demonstrated and declared is the widest, where you say one thing and you do another most consistently. And start there. One area, going 1 degree higher. Demonstrated, but not declared. And number 3, hold it in the small moments. The standards get set in the moments that feel too small to matter. Not the big decisions, but the tiny ones. The moments where it'd be easy to just let slide just once. Those are the ones that actually build the standard. Hold that line in those moments and watch what actually happens over time. So, listen to me when you know you deserve more, but you keep living as if you don't. Because you do deserve more. That part was never the question. The question is whether you are willing to demonstrate the standard that matches what you say you deserve. Because the life you want isn't waiting for you to want it harder. It's waiting for your demonstrated standard to match it. And that's it. And in the next video, we're going to go 1 layer deeper into why your real standard is certainly lower than what you think and exactly where to look in order to find it. So drop a comment below. So let me know where one area in your life where the gap between your declared standard and your demonstrated one is the widest. And don't forget to name it honestly, because that is where the work starts. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so the next one finds you when you need it. My name's Harley. Do the work, trust the process, and I'll see you in the next one.